I recently realized that I have a pretty unique set of NuPhy keyboards, which sort of includes a bit of everything along their journey with the Air lineup. It's basically the fewest amount of keyboards needed to tell the whole story from end to end. So I'm going to do that and give a little history lesson as told by my set of NuPhy keyboards. Hopefully this set continues to grow over time as the Air lineup evolves and improves as it has steadily for some time. So let's jump in, beginning with my first NuPhy keyboard, the Air75. This is the original version 1, which is now discontinued. Getting the 75% model was a logical place to start, as it's likely the most common size and the one that most people would choose. At this point in time, gray was the only color available, and the switches were either red, blue, or brown. I tend to be a tactile guy, so this one has the browns. When I reviewed this keyboard, I loved it, referring to it as almost perfect. My only complaint at the time was that I was having trouble with the right shift key. With it not being stabilized, I kept missing clicks when not hitting the center of the key exactly. Though this did hinder my enjoyment with this model, every model I've had since has not repeated this issue, so my hypothesis in the end is that the newer factory lube switches don't get hung up like my original model did. My next keyboard was the Air96. This was also the original version 1, though the 96 came out much later than the 75 and 60, and this is really a bit more of a version 1.5 if anything. More on that soon. This was the first model to be available in the ionic white color, so naturally I grabbed that. This is still my absolute favorite colorway of the Air lineup. I think it is the most clean and really pretty all around. They also introduced a new tactile switch at this time. It was called Wisteria, and I took a leap on that as well. Now, although those changes may have been all that met the eye for most, the reason why this was a bit more of a 1.5 version in my book is that they already started making several of the changes which became staples in the V2 lineup. This was the first time that the 4,000 milliamp hour battery made an appearance. They moved from a die-sub keycap to a double-shot PBT keycap. They added foldable feet on the back and removed those stupid orange rubber ones that were removable on the original version. I don't miss those at all. And finally, they added additional sound dampening layers, which at the time made this the best sounding keyboard I'd used. The result was that this keyboard stayed on my desk for over a year. I straight up paused keyboard reviews and was just happy to keep using this one. Now today, as much as I enjoyed using the Air96 for a year, I'm much more committed to this channel, and so the likelihood of any single keyboard getting that much time on my desk ever again is pretty much non-existent. Instead, now I'm trying loads of boards, and during that time, NuPhy reached out and asked if they could send over the Air60 V2. Oddly enough, this was exactly what I needed to complete my set. Now, in full disclosure, they did wind up sending this keyboard over for review, but they had no say in that particular video, and this video wasn't even discussed. This is all me. I really just have a lot of respect for what they've been able to do, and I wanted to call out this cool evolution that I've seen firsthand in these three boards and in my experience. In the event that you do decide you want to purchase a NuPhy keyboard either now or in the future, you can always use code Cameron to get 10% off, which is a nice added bonus. But now, going back to this V2. The new version 2 was a change that hit all three sizes of the keyboard, and sadly it made the original Air96 obsolete just about 9 months after its release, which was pretty brutal. However, even that was handled about as well as it could be. Since the upgrades were primarily to the internals, the PCB specifically, I'll explain them soon, NuPhy made available an upgrade kit to people who had purchased the Air96 V1, and it gave it to them at a discounted cost so that they could get those V2 capabilities without having to purchase another board. They didn't really have to do this, but it shows that they recognized the impact of their actions and did their best to make the situation right. Now onto these V2 boards. All of the enhancements that I described in the Air96 made their way onto the full V2 lineup. The only exception was the 4,000 milliamp hour battery, which remained only in the 96 and 75% versions, but the Air60 maintained its 2,500 milliamp hour size. In addition to that already solid list of features, the V2 boards enhanced core functionality, remember the PCB upgrade, by adding support for QMK and VIA and enhancing connectivity to 1000 Hz when using their wireless receiver. In addition to these core functions, they fully rolled out their impressive Ghost Bar, which uses silicon to mute the sound of the spacebar, and updated the bottom case to be clear to show off the new color-matched internals. Finally, they rolled out a third color, Basalt Black, and yet another tactile switch called Moss, so obviously I grabbed both of those. And just like that, you can see all of the intricacies that go on behind the scenes at a keyboard company in just 3 different keyboards. 3 different colors, all carrying forward the unique NuPhy style, improvements across each and every component, inside and outside of the boards, from the keycaps to the switches, from the typing sound to the core PCB and internals. We've got the original V1, the new V2, and an interesting middle ground where timelines to roll out a new size and timelines to roll out new internals didn't quite align. It's really cool to see all of this together at the same time, and obviously this wouldn't be a keyboard video if I didn't at least give you a quick typing test of each one. Looking out to the future, NuPhy has already started iterating beyond these initial Air keyboards with their brand new Hall effect versions of the Air60 and Air75. Those use magnetic switches to give you a top-of-the-line gaming experience. My personal message to NuPhy going forward would be to keep pushing and keep making incremental improvements, because when you take a look back, it's pretty crazy to see how much can be achieved in a relatively small space of time. It's obvious that the mechanical keyboard space is continuing to grow, and I think that the low-profile space in particular is going to continue to be that middle ground between people wanting mechanical, but also still wanting small and compact. I personally can't wait to see what comes next. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you drop a like if you think that NuPhy should send over their complete lineup of Halo keyboards as well. I'd happily make another video on that. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to use code Cameron if you want to buy a NuPhy keyboard, and I will see you in the next one.